I will be starting in just a moment. A good throat clear to start the day. Gosh darn it. That's how you really get the juices moving. Moving and moving and moving. Oh man, I wish I knew Japanese. I could actually like try to make up some words to this intro that I've made for myself here. Sadly no. Sadly no. These are actually all just stitched together. These are all just stitched together friggin' Sora things that I made, and I think it's hilarious. Anywho, hoodalolly. Hoodalolly is the word I was trying to say just now. Welcome. Hi. Welcome. Hey. Things are set up in an interesting way. As you can see, ooh, I've got a second camera. Finally, I've got a second camera set up. It's actually my phone, which I guess I should have been able to do from the very beginning. Which is, I could have. I just chose not to because I'm lazy and because I don't really know much about making technology work for me. I'm old and I am mostly a blue-collar worker kind of guy, so my skills don't fall into the intricacies of operating software, which is fine. That's okay. So I'm Goose, and if you've never been present for a Talk Tuesday before, we talk. on Tuesdays. I think that's pretty straightforward. I know that it's kind of hard to, my chair is so messed up right now. Oh, God. It won't let me sit in the correct position that I've set the camera up in. Anywho, welcome. This is a live stream as per usual, but the difference of today is that today's a bit more of like a podcast oriented thing where you call in, you being pretty much anyone, as long as the topic that you want to discuss it falls within the terms of service of YouTube and Twitch. I don't really care. I think what I would like to do is try to use this opportunity to give a platform to people who don't otherwise have that chance. So let's say that you have a talent, or you've been working really hard on a skill, or you have a job that you think is exciting or something, and you just don't have access to streaming on the internet or making videos, or you just don't have the time, or for whatever reason you can't be a part of a podcast. You're not quite vertically integrated in that way. Well, that's what this is for. This is to give you a platform. Yes, you, to give you guys a platform so that you can talk about something that you're passionate about without any judgment or pressure or any kind of atmosphere that is combative. So basically how this is going to work is you're going to call in, or you're going to talk in chat, whichever one you think is the most comfortable for you. I'm willing to take either, though things are going to be a lot easier if we use voice chat. I can just tell you that much right now. The idea is that you call in, you get into a waiting room, you're going to be there with everybody else who's waiting to speak. You can feel free to chat to those guys. We've never really had more than one person in the waiting room at one time, so I don't see it happening, but feel free to use that place to build community. If not, you just want to like join later, then join the in general, the Discord in general. Grow the community, you know, say what's up, we'll say what's up back. There's not very many people. Again, this is scant. All right, don't expect this to be a 100 viewer experience. This is more of a 1 or 2 viewer experience. If you happen to enjoy any of this stuff, and just for the record books, I am not particularly myself mystic, or I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, I don't believe in God, I have no reason to follow any kind of doctrine. I simply use the things in front of me, including this book here, which we might get into, we might not get into, depends on the caller situation. Including this book is as tools to inform my own self-awareness and to guide my perception towards the area that will help me improve or maintain myself better. That's all it is. We'll get into that. That's just kind of a condensed little snippet of what to expect. So feel free to call in. The Discord's open, waiting room's open. I think I'm primed and ready to go. I feel primed. I feel like I've been properly, second pill of the day. I feel like I've now been properly medicated and am alert and rested. So, yeah. Basically, when you call in, I'm going to give you a series of questions, and we're going to have just a freaking talk. Like, it's going to be like a podcast. I'm telling you. This is probably the most casual... Sorry, I got to swallow my pill. It's probably the most casual, chill time you can think of. In between, when we have people calling in, we're going to be doing a couple of things. I have here a tarot deck, which I am now massaging. Feel free to ask it any question you would like, as long as the question, again, is within the terms of service. I don't think that I should have to explain this, but I did have someone spam my Discord with the N-word a few weeks ago, so I don't think that that's like... It's not really... I used to do a little bit of trolling myself, okay? And so I know that trolling often is nuanced. Good trolls often simultaneously make you believe that they're doing whatever they're doing on purpose, but also that maybe they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're legitimately ignorant to their role in whatever it is. Like, you have to be nuanced. You can't just go into a Discord and be shouting the N-word. It doesn't happen. You can easily edit that out. And it's not like anybody, like if you go to someone who has like 0 viewers, it's not like somebody's gonna be, you know, nobody's gonna be watching it, so no one's gonna see it and report it, so it's not gonna get the channel shut down. It just makes you look childish. So that's why I have to end up saying, you know, please follow the TOS, because I've had many times, or not many times, I've had a couple times before people have not done it. So please call in, please. You can ask the tarot cards anything you want. You don't even have to ask anything. I actually can just kind of like come up with a question that you didn't even know you had. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy? We're gonna do the spoilers. So yesterday I kind of was, it was a little bit of a test run, and I was offering the spoilers, like the explanation as to what I was doing, how it's a scam, and why you shouldn't trust people who truly believe in tarot. I was doing that sort of in real time, but I think what's really important is to give the showmanship first, and give the mystic aspect of this first, and then give the analysis afterwards. So that's what we'll do. Not much of a change, but instead of really explaining things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the whole spiel, and then I'm going to explain things, okay? And we're not going to include the booklet. What we want to do is, I want to see if I can accurately cold read, okay? That is the goal and the test. You know, yeah, that's what we're doing. So feel free to ask the tarot card anything you'd like. Not one tarot card, any of them. And also, when you join the waiting room and you call in, you don't have to really have any topic in mind. We can just do a tarot reading if you'd like. And also, if you call in with something else, stick around after you're done and we'll do a tarot reading. I know I'm really pushing these tarot readings, but I swear there's a reason behind all of this. There's a motive and an intent, and I think if we can get someone to call in so I can hear voice, so I can hear tone, so I can perhaps perceive mental state and awareness, that's going to be best for reading, but cold reading. That's my talent. So that's what I'm here to share, is my talent of being able to read people. It's kind of like really just psychology and knowing stuff. And it doesn't even mean like, that's not like knowing anything important, just like knowing random shit. Yeah, kid, I just couldn't get 15 minutes into the thing without cursing. YouTube is gonna have a field day. Well, good thing I'm not getting paid by YouTube. I did, speaking of getting paid, I did recently start getting paid on Twitch. So if you like the content that I make and you want to help support me, then go over on Twitch and use that juicy Prime sub. Oof. That almost made me think of like a steak sandwich. That sounds real good right now. Damn it, now I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get a nut bar. I'll be right back. I'm trying to keep it 16 and 8. The OMAD diet. Not diet, but I typically only eat one meal a day, so I figure why not just really make it one meal a day. Today it's gonna be like more like 20 and 4. If you play Dune Awakening, a new update came out with DLC. You can get those the droids that you saw in Star Wars Episode 2, which have like the 2 big wheels on them. It's a lot smaller, but it's like a mono wheel, but it's not. But I think the last game that you could get a mono wheel in was like Ark, maybe? I can't remember. There was a survival crafting game. Oh god, sorry about that crackling. I think it might have been... There was another desert game where you could build like desert boats or whatever. And I think the first thing that you were able to build was a monowheel. It was almost entirely unnecessary. You didn't really need it after the first like tier of crafted goods. You just used a sand boat or whatever. All right. I couldn't get both my thumbs in frame. I've got two thumbs and they're both up right now, which means that I've had a nut bar and now I've got almond energy for days. So if you like people who have almond energy for days, join the fucking Discord. Join the frickin' Discord, you fricks. Get in there, or just ask the tarot deck a question, alright? I'm gonna flip this over so you don't get a little peeksy poopsy of Julie Andrews. The hills are alive with the sound of music. If you haven't seen it, that's it's a literal classic. It's literally a classic. Literally. Alright, so while we wait for callers, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna do a tarot reading in general. I'm gonna do a universal tarot reading, alright? Keep in mind, this is all for entertainment purposes. This is only... let me put some spooky music on real quick, or witchy music. That was just sort of the intro. Let's do like spooky atmosphere music, because then we can like get a real vibe going, you know. There you go. And tell me if it's too loud, if it's drowning out my vocals, because gotta be able to hear me, right? The Universal Tarot Reading Helmet. This is applicable to nearly everybody. All right? All right, here we go. Oh, sorry. Sorry, microphone. I apologize. If you're on headphones, you're awake. Congratulations. All right. I have to blow some vape so that I get the fog machine atmosphere going. Okay, it's a little hesitant. There we go. Okay. Okay, so maybe it's not hitting very hard. I don't know. I don't think this is going to provide that much atmosphere. Here you go. Ooh. Ah? Does that work? All right. If you've never seen tarot before, it is a mystical art going back thousands and thousands of hours to the late 1970s, early 1970s. Ooh. However, tarot being a tool for mystics to use to divine things is actually pretty old. That goes back to the Victorian days? When people started picking up Eastern ideas and started working them into their own religious followings. So throughout many periods in history, religion becomes pretty boring. People tend to fall out of love with the same old, and different generations tend to adopt... What on earth are you doing? Hey! What you doing? Crazy? You crazy? Ooh! Ooh! Sorry, my dog was being cute. been around a while, and people who started doing it used it as a tool for divination, which comes from pagan stuff, caveman days stuff. You know, it comes from us, as I said yesterday, sitting around the fire trying to explain what we were seeing, the things that we didn't understand. And that's kind of what we see as magic today. When I start to read from this book, it will become very clear why I'm kind of talking about magic at all, why I'm talking about mysticism at all. This book, spoiler alert, it's a self-help book. It is not a magic book. It is a self-help book. It is not a grimoire. But it's a very cool book. It is called Condensed Chaos, An Introduction to Chaos Magic by Phil Hine, with a foreword by Peter Carroll, both loony as the day is long, wackadoo, but the words are what's important. All right, here goes the tarot reading. Now this tarot reading, I want you to think of a time when you last felt truly, truly vulnerable. I want you to focus on that right now. Now, Helmet, you're the only one in here, but you can channel other people into this. You can think of all your loved ones, all the people that you've met over the years. You know, you can think of the people that you know at work, the people that you know at the frickin' park, if you want. But if you tap into their brain, you can bring them into this. All right? Your will is the pathway by which their collective consciousness can channel into the heart of the cards. Yu-Gi-Oh phrase. So I'm gonna cut this deck a few times, and we're talking about vulnerability. All right? Time when you last felt exposed, when you last felt, you know, open to attack, open to judgment. All right, this is the first card. That is the question. So, I'm gonna blow your mind right now, Helmet, okay? I'm gonna blow your freaking mind. Just have to find the entry. Now, I will be referring to the book for the direct interpretation of the cards, and then I'll go ahead and give my own interpretation based on what it says, as per yesterday. All right, here's the entry for the Eight of Cups. Now remember, this is in regards to the question that you didn't even know you wanted to ask. Now we wanted to open ourselves to feel vulnerable so that we could learn, so that we could open the pathways, the neural pathways that have to exist in order for you to learn, and those only occur when you've stepped outside your comfort zone, when you feel, you know, exposed and open. All right. We drew the Eight of Cups, right side up. In the Eight of Cups, a man walks away from his current reality towards a new dream. The cup of his old way of life have emptied, or the cups of his old way of life have emptied. And though he has acquired relationships, skills, and memories, he must abandon some of what he knows to create something new. Be confident that nothing of importance has been lost. The path forward is unclear, but to find the deeper satisfaction you crave, you must be certain of your decision, venturing through the haze of the foreign and the unknown. Something tells me that there is a change occurring in your life, Helmet. Something tells me that there's a big change that is occurring in your life. Are you going through what most psychologists would refer to as a change of life circumstance? Did you have a baby? Did you adopt a dog? Did you get a new job? Did you move? You know, have you encountered any significant changes in your life recently? The meaning, if we're to look at the keywords, says a search for new paths, a rejection of the material for the spiritual, disappointment, humility, walking away, fortitude, embracing the unknown. Okay, so we can narrow that down, looking at the meaning of the Eight of Cups. If you had a change of life recently, was it somehow disappointing? Was it like a change that you're kind of like, ah, man, like I didn't really want to do this. Like now I gotta go do this. Ah, damn, you know. This can include things like, you know, maybe your schedule switched and now because I know that you have to like leave to go pick up your kids occasionally. Like, is that a new development? Like, did you always do that? Or is this something that maybe you're like, oh man, you know, like kicking dust while you're doing it? This could also be a change to your routine, or maybe the store ran out of your favorite coffee. It can be something benign, but the Eight of Cups is a change of phase. The Eight of Cups is a transition. It's a circumstance that is outside of your control. It could also result from a choice that you made somehow. This can be like collateral damage. But this is the question. And when I say the question, we break it up into three categories. It's the question, the intent, and the outcome. Now the question is, do you know this about yourself yet? Do you know that you have this question? Does this bring something up? And that's the key to remember from the question. I can tell you what the meaning of the card is, but you have to be the one to connect it. Just like if you were to talk to a spiritual medium, when they're trying to get you to connect to things like, you know, an object or a memory, it's so they can better channel the spirit through themselves to you. So you said your schedule did change recently. You have to drive your son to vision therapy twice a week. I know how crunched people can be for time, and so I understand that this type of change can be distracting, and it can set you up for what you think might be disappointment. But the Eight of Cups is both an arbiter of dangerous portents, but also fortunate portents. This could be a thing that might bring you and your son together closer. You know, some people, you know, they don't have the opportunity to have the car rides with their dad that they wish they did growing up. So maybe this could be a good thing as opposed to a bad thing. And it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that changes are difficult for everybody, you know, and the older we get, the harder it is to change our routine. But the Eight of Cups tells me that you're a pretty flexible person, and I think that you might not necessarily encounter disappointment, even though it might be sitting there at the back of your head, okay? So trust in the Eight of Cups. Now we're gonna pull the next card. Now, and we can, this is all, I haven't looked at it yet. This is chaos. This is all just whatever. We can leave that, or you can burn it if you'd like, and I can draw another one. I can also draw from the middle of the deck. You can tell me how many cards in to draw from. It doesn't matter. I can just pull a random card if you'd like. But it is really, it's the heart of the cards. You just have to trust in the cards. And if you just want me to flip this one, I will. But I'll leave it to you. I need to take a drink of water. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. It's a good soundtrack. It's a little more like scary, like horror oriented than like suspenseful and interesting. I wanted more like intrigue, you know? All right, I will flip the one I picked out. Four of Swords, inverted. Could be good, could be bad. Who knows? Who knows? I certainly don't. I mean, I do. I'm the spiritual one, so I know how to interpret the cards. You do not know how to interpret the cards. It's me! Four of Swords. Okay. The Four of Swords is often known as the meditation card. It indicates that you are in or have just gotten over a difficult time and you need to rest, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. When we are troubled, our minds play tricks on us. Imagining hopeful escapes or tragic demises, quieting your mind is an act of humility which allows you to enlist divine intelligence, your true voice. It won't make the problem go away, but in the space of stillness you can bring fresh perspective and invite new ideas to appear. Meaning, a time to quiet the mind, respite from difficulty, recuperation, engaged listening, release, gratitude, return to your center. Now isn't that a coinky-dinkle? You said your schedule changed, but I said that I think that you seem pretty flexible. You seem to be a fairly well-adjusted person just from our short encounters, and it seemed to me like maybe you might be adjusting pretty well to this. This is a very, very common occurrence in everyday life where our schedules change and we gotta adjust to it, but you seem to be taking it on with aplomb. I don't think that, you know, typically sometimes couples will get into fights, or couples will get into like, you know, arguments or discussions about how things should happen. It's, you know, the drama that happens all the time, but something tells me that you've actually been able to handle this with a lot more reasonability in its approach than other people tend to. So good on you for that. The intent here is that you're gonna find peace. The intent is you mean, by asking this question to yourself, to just achieve peace, a sort of meditative, you know, harmony within yourself. The cards don't lie. I have had trouble finding time in the past that I need a respite from. Once again, the cards know all. I agree. The cards do know all. Now, last but not least, I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this one. Boom. The outcome. So that is the Seven of Swords. Let me just put these in a configuration that might actually fit on here. There we go. There we go. That works. All right. Seven of Swords. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. So this is the outcome. This is what you can look for in the future to kind of help you, guide you from the question to the outcome through your intent. Seven of Swords. Like the intention of this thief, the meaning of the Seven of Swords relies on the circumstance, other cards surrounding it. Coincidental, huh? Depending on the context, his actions could represent dishonesty or bravery. In any case, a risk is involved. Oh wait, that was the inverse of Four of Swords. You're not handling it well. An increase in stress, harmful persistence, busyness, and activity. See, I can't even get my own cards right. I know all of the cards. I meant to inverse that. Sorry. That means that it's stressful for you. You know, the change is stressful. And the intent here is to try to alleviate stress. Sorry, I gave up the game a little bit there, but I apologize, and I will try harder next time. Anywho, the Seven of Swords, it's mostly about... Okay, so... this change that happened in your life that resulted in a little bit of stress, it might not end up the way that you had expected or the way that you want, and things may change. For better or worse, you're gonna learn something from this. And whether it's, you know, a harmful or traumatic experience, you will find equal peace in the aftermath, and you will find you know, reassurance in the idea that things will get better at some point, and that perhaps you've learned something along the way. I think that these next few weeks might be pretty difficult for you, Helmet, but I know that you have the ability, because of the Eight of Cups, to overcome said stress. Even if it might be debilitating, or even if you might suffer a loss of some sanity or some mental stability, it will come back, because the Eight of Cups is nothing if not resilient. Now, the Seven of Swords is affected by the other two cards of the pull. If you have the ability of introspection, if you can make these circumstances work for you, then you will learn something from the experience, and you will be able to have everlasting peace, eternal, if you can try to relax and try to keep your mind focused on what's really important. Does that sound good? The cards! So, now that works for pretty much anyone. And, I mean, I would say that, what, every 3 years we go through a phase of life change. Every few years, especially if you have kids, it's a lot more frequent that you encounter changes of circumstance. And so that's something that a cold reader can very easily draw upon. Like, if they know anything about people of any kind of age. Like, it all comes down to demographics and statistics. If you're a relatively young person, like let's say you're in your early 20s, I'm not going to assume that you're taking the kids to school every day and taking them to their, you know, musical practice and stuff like that. I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to assume that you either have no kids, or you're still in school, or you have, you know, a very rigid like schedule because you're trying to save some money, or you go out and party. You know, if you seem like a party kid, that would have been a completely different thing. Like, I would have said, okay, 2 of coins. Here's the question. Now imagine that you're like 19 years old, you know, and you're just, you have no necessary, like, no question or anything in mind. You're just, let's say you're 19, you're going to college, and I drew the 2 of coins, and I happen to know, because you're a regular viewer, I happen to know that you're a college kid. I could just say, in this time in your life, you're trying to do what you want to have, like what you want in order to have fun, but you're also trying to do what you need to in order to progress forward through your life. There is always going to be a tugging sense of FOMO, if you're familiar with the term. And I think one of the most adult things that you can do, one of the best things you can do when you're trying to grow and learn as a human being, is to understand that not every missed opportunity is traumatic or is the death of something. Sometimes you can go out and party till 2 a.m. and still get up and go to class. Sometimes you cannot get up and go to class. The older you get, the harder it becomes. So the question here is, can I balance my life with my partying? Can I go out and have fun? Can I also meet the one? Can I also get a degree? Can I also have kids and start a family? Can I work? Can I do all these things with the work-life balance that I need in order to sustain myself? Can I do this? You see, so it's just knowing things about different groups of people. And I think, you know, it even there are cultural divides too. Like, I wouldn't say racial, because that's, you're getting a little bit into a you know, a bad territory. That, like, there is a history of racism in Magic, and there is a history of otherism in a lot of like dogmatic systems, which is one of the reasons why I don't like religion. It's because it demonizes groups of people. You know? Gosh darn it. Yeah, I can't stay up and party anymore either. So what I mean, if I was myself, I would have said, you know, the tower. Like, I can, these can all apply to anyone. These are, it's just a little, it's a gimmick, you know? It's a little gimmick. Let's see, what does a tower say? So it's 17. The tower, all right. So if it was for me, I would say, yeah, my question would be, why have I ended up in the place that I have? What has changed, or what has made me undesirable to the rest of society? And I would then interpret that. It's hard to do self-interpretation because you're kind of biased. There should be like a conflict of interest clause in Magic. You know? All right, so I am leaving the tarot cards open if anyone would like to have a reading. An ad is starting soon, apparently, according to Twitch. Keeps popping up and letting me know things. I'm keeping this open, but I would also like to start reading from Condensed Chaos. Oh yeah, no problem, man. Damn, dude, you must live close. Or you're listening while you're in your car or something. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't really psychic. I'm just pretending to be. All right, so Condensed Chaos. I gotta have to kind of prime it a little bit. You cannot believe in, like, you can believe in whatever the fudge you want. Don't believe in this stuff. Don't believe in anything other than using this as a psychological tool for yourself, for self-reflection. I keep shaking the book so you can't even see it. This is the book, Condensed Chaos. It is a guide to the modern practice of chaos magic. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool book. But what you gotta do is you gotta look at it through a very practical lens. You can't be thinking that this is like, there's God in here. And it even says like a few times, one of the biggest portions of, or I guess one of the biggest systems of belief in chaos magic is that there is no dogma. So, I mean, that I feel like that's pretty straightforward. It'll make it, it'll become clear more once we kind of get into it. So, I don't know how to, I guess I don't know how to hit vapes correctly. All right. So, if I could just read the quick little blurb on the back, it might make more sense. Also, if you're just joining, feel free to call in. This is a podcast where anybody could be the host, or anybody could be the guest. You join, I ask you a few questions, and you share something you're passionate about, you plug your channel, and then you move on your merry way. It's very easy, very simple. We are simply doing things to entertain until we get a caller. But this is all still pretty entertaining. I enjoy the fake mysticism. Although I wish that we would get a real believer in here, huh? Huh? Or a Joe from the street. Just a rando Joe. Hey, Joe, what do you know? All right. It's a little blurb on the back. Very interesting. And it kind of does put it in a nutshell. And let me know if my voice is too low or something, all right? We live in a world subject to extensive and seemingly all-embracing systems of social and personal control that continually feed us the lie that we are each alone, helpless, and powerless to effect change. But magic is a doorway through which we step into mystery, wildness, and imminence. And magic is about change. Magic leads us into exhilaration and ecstasy, into insight and understanding, into changing ourselves and the world in which we participate. Through magic, we may come to explore the possibilities of freedom. There you go. Freedom! I'm pulling out my organs. Oh, freedom. All right. We will start with the foreword. I have at many times tried to make it through this book. It is a lot. Talks a lot about Kali, Ganesh, Eris, Gnosis. All right. So bear with me here. The two guys, so the foreword is written by Peter Carroll, and the book itself is written by Phil Hine, both of which love to make up their own words. So I will try my best to not stutter when I encounter something that I don't recognize, but understand that the mistakes are not mine. Mistakes are there on the page, and I can prove it. I have the physical copy of the book. Ha ha! Take that, naysayers. All right. Oh, sorry, I hit the microphone. All right, here we go. Forward by Peter J. Carroll. The paradigm shift now occurring at the cutting edge of magic has many roots. The symbolic syncretism of the Golden Dawn a century ago, which fused Renaissance Hermeticism with Oriental esoterics drawn from the European imperial experience, only fully flowered when Aleister Crowley added a battery of Gnostic power techniques culled from diverse cultural sources. Then along came Austin Spare, who identified the basic sleight of mind techniques underlying all forms of magic and showed us that we could treat the whole Baroque symbolism of magic as entirely optional. Spare invented the post-modernist approach to magic well before the cultural advent of existentialism or postmodernism. The theories of special and general relativity added little to esoteric theory, although the idea of cultural relativism manifested in syncretic occultism long before it found general social acceptance. However, The other main pillar of 20th century science, quantum physics, provides enormous support for many areas of metaphysical theory and indeed suggests considerable scope for its extension. So far, only chaos magic seems to have welcomed it on board. Shortly after the launch of the chaos magic paradigm, chaos mathematics developed from catastrophe theory and confirmed the chaoist hypothesis that some mechanism must exist to scale up subatomic indeterminacy into a macroscopic world of our experience. My God. He's just trotting out words, trotting out every word he thinks he knows, and then also making some up. But whatever. This is just the forward. So much of what magicians have taken for granted this century stems from the work of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley. Much of what will constitute standard magical theory and practice in the next century will derive from the state-of-the-art ideas and techniques currently under development in chaos magic. This book, by a rising star of the new tradition, represents an outstanding contribution to the revolution now occurring. So, I promise that the rest of the book is not like that. He is hard to digest. He wrote a book called Liber Chaos and Liber Null. Do not try to read them. They're like 500 pages each. This is actually the reason why this guy wrote this is because the guy that did the Forewords books were way too hard to understand. So he was able to boil everything down. Phil Hine was able to boil everything down and make it understandable so that common people could actually know what the fudge these guys are talking about. All right, so chapter 1. Now, this is key to the entire thing. It starts with the most important precept that you will ever learn from this entire catalog of information. Is chaos magic? The answer in short, is no. Let's just understand that right now, not in the way that you understand it, not in the way that we know magic to be, that in the fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, it's not that type of magic. It may be magical, it may be miraculous, but it is simply those and not actually like a thing. Hey, Street Trip, long time no see. What's up, man? When did you first encounter us? Were you first doing when I was playing Battlefield, or did you join during a talk stream? Because we're doing talk today, if you didn't know. Today is all about mysticism, it's all about tarot, it's all about talents, it's all about talking, it's all about podcasting, it's all about having a discussion and hanging out and chilling and being cool-ass motherfrickers, alright? Battlefield will be tomorrow. I will be playing some more Battlefield tomorrow. And then there's, I think, 2 weeks left. Or no, it's a whole, damn it, it's a whole month. Damn it! It's about a month, no, it's about a month out from Battlefield. It's about a week out from Borderlands. And then it's about, I think, 2 to 3 months out for Call of Duty. There's some AAA releases happening in these next few months that are right up my alley. Unfortunately for you know, my paycheck and my pocketbook and all that kind of stuff, it's a problem. Now, Street Trip, I don't know if you noticed, but here on the table next to me, I've got a deck of cards. Would you like me to give you a tarot reading? Now, these cards are tarot cards. Have you ever had a tarot reading before? I'm raising my eyebrows up and down rapidly. It's making my forehead tired. And I can't keep it going. I'm trying. Oh man, wow. I didn't know that you could work that. I didn't know you could work that muscle out too much. I was doing it real fast, and now I'm not. That's insane. Have you ever like tried to do something and you just like your body just wouldn't let you? Oh my god. Okay, wow. Now I feel like there's a rubber band on my eyebrows. Oh my god. And my dog is farting and it smells like rotten eggs. Super cool. All right, Street Trip, you can either ask the deck a question or I can just simply give you a reading. And you can tell me if anything that I say is accurate to you whatsoever. Do you mind sharing your age range for me? Like, do you have a like when you fill out those demographics, do you fill out 18 to 24? Or do you fill out 25 to 30? Or do you fill out 35 to 40? Which one do you tend to check on the boxes? Because it's the younger you are, the more not susceptible, the more perceptive you are to the spirit realm, the more able you are to receive spiritual connections from any of the ghosties that might be floating around here. Okay, so if you're a little bit older, that's fine, but we'll have to try a little bit harder. We'll have to concentrate just a little bit more. All right. See, because typically, and I don't want to give away any of the secrets right now, but typically, if I was seeing you on the street offering a free, or if I was walking, or you were walking by me while I'm offering tarot reading on the street, I would be able to see you, and I'd be able to kind of see your demographic, like what age you are, what style of clothing you're wearing, all that kind of stuff. So it'd be easier to read you that way. But since we're here over chat, a little more difficult. So I think really the only thing I need to know right now is just what age group you tend to be in. I think I could probably divine that from the cards, right? If the cards know all, I could probably guess sort of around the area of what age you are. But it helps to know just for a reading, for a 3-card reading. Let's see if I can do it in 1 card, okay? I don't know if this is gonna work. I've never tried this before. We're putting my channeling skills to the test here. Can I divine a person's age simply from 1 card? Let's see. Let's find out. All right. You're ready to get your mind blown, Street Trip. Do you mind if I call you Street Trip? I'm kidding. I'm not stupid, I promise. I promise. I promise I'm not stupid. I promise. Yeah, you don't have to tell me your age if you don't want to. That's only if you're comfortable with any information that you give. That's the... Just consider that attached to everything I say. Only if you're comfortable. If you... Whatever information you are comfortable with sharing, please feel free to do so, but I am not going to hold you to anything. Alright, let's see. A surprising change in circumstances, generosity, gratitude, stability, gift, return of favor. I'm going to say you're in your 20s. And I'm going to be more specific, and I'm going to say that you're in your mid-20s. I'll call you Ben, that's fine. I can call you Benjamin, Ben. I like the name Ben, it's fun to say. Rolls off the tongue nicely. Although Benjamin is more fun, but it's more syllables. You know? So you're more like 28 to 30. Is that correct? Because that was my first instinct, but I didn't want to go with that. I wanted to be more conservative. Alright, well. That makes things a little easier. Oh yeah, because I played myself. Look, it was inverted. And I went to the light side of 20. And I should have gone to the heavier side of 20 because it was inverted and I was thinking 25. So I should have done the opposite of what I did. My first instinct would have been correct. Alright, I have to trust myself. I have to trust myself and the heart of the cards. I gotta be more confident in my guesses. I mean, I have to be more open to the connection of the spirits. All right, we're gonna draw 3 cards. Now, I don't know if this has been explained to you before, but the whole thing about tarot is it falls into I don't know, it falls into like several different categories as to what, or sorry, the procedure falls into several different categories. You can either do a really in-depth reading, you can do a shallow reading like I did, which is 1 card, or you can do kind of the average reading, and that's what we're gonna do today. And it's 3 cards. The first card represents something that I call the question. The second card represents something that I call the intent, and the third card represents the conclusion. They're pretty straightforward in their meaning. You can kind of glean just from their name what they mean, but just to fully flesh out the information, the question may be something you didn't even know you were thinking. It's not your actual question. It's really an answer to a question. It's what should I be thinking about right now? Or it's what is in my mind that I would like to be working on right now or processing that I have not yet processed. What it's going to do, this card, and I am going to spoil it a little bit for you here, Street Trip. This card could literally be anything. The point is not what's on the card. The point is how you accept the information that the card is giving you. And in this case, the question is the activator. It's the catalyst. It's what is supposed to trigger that thing in your brain where it takes the thing that you're trying to wonder or process about and puts it into the front of your brain so that you can now confront those thoughts and you can now do the analysis and you can now reason through things the way that you're supposed to. What I like to say about tarot is that it is a good facilitator to introspection and self-analysis. All right? Take it for what it is. It is not real magic. I am not really psychic, but I bet you I can make you think that I am. All right, so first card, the Hierophant, inverted. So the Hierophant is a trusted advisor. Something tells me that this is going to describe you pretty perfectly. So, all right. Something tells, and you don't have to share this if you don't feel safe doing so, but something tells me that your degree, either if you went to college, your degree was in something fairly altruistic, or if you didn't go to college, that you do something for a living that is fairly altruistic. And if you don't work or go to school, then I bet you anything that you're a very active member of your immediate community. You know, the intent is the second card. I'm not going to assign any intent to it because it could either be for better or worse. We don't know. I haven't pulled the card yet. If there is a thing that you love to do, you seem to take time to share it with the people that you see. You're about to say, or you said artistic, and I was about to get there. I was saying if there's something that you're really passionate about doing, like something creative, like art, then you like to share it with people, which makes me wonder why you're not calling into the goddamn talent show, you son of a... Do you have art that you'd like to share? If so, I'm happy to share it. I'm happy to put it up on the screen. I'm happy to, if you've got a song, I'm happy to play it. Anyway, back to the reading. There is a thing about you that seems stubborn, like you don't want to give up, like you don't want to experience too much of a change in your passion. So if someone was to say like, oh, you know, I signed you up for dance classes, you have no ability to say no to the dance classes, and it encroaches on all of your drawing time or all of your music time or all of your whatever creative time that you have, you would say like that would be not traumatic, but that would be stressful. That would be really like not fun at all whatsoever. So rejection of traditional beliefs. Okay. You don't typically like to follow the flow of things, and that can often stress you out because people don't usually accept stuff like that, right? Is that the case? I can tell you. You don't even need to answer. I can tell you what the intent is here. But you just let me know if I'm close at all. Just update me on my progress anyway. My music stopped playing. How dare you? How dare you? This is the most important part of the live stream. Music. Well, now I want you to answer. How accurate did I get that first part? And oh no, it's fine. And you can tell me just like on a percentage scale, you can tell me 1 out of 10, you can tell me whether it was like, hey, you got pretty close or whatever, you know, and so you can tell me that. Oh no, I just wanted to know, so I don't need you necessarily to tell me how accurate I am. I can guess what your intention is by flipping this card, but I just wanted to get a progress report, because this is all, you know, I'm just proving to myself that I can do it. This is my talent. That's why I'm sharing it. And you're welcome to share your talent too. But this, you know, I have the ability to read people. I can tell who you are without even knowing who you are. All right? That's my talent. I'm showing it off. Now, is this for better or worse? What's your intent? Now, this intent is not who are you as a person. This intent is, what does it have to do with this? All right? Direct relation to that. The 4 of coins. All right, so we said that you don't like to follow the norm, which I'm gonna say the 4 of coins is probably gonna back up here, and let's say that it probably gets you into, oh, it's inverted. Oh no, I think, because normally, so typically the 4 of coins would say that your unwillingness to be normal or to be status quo, your unwillingness doesn't pan out. It leads to stress, it leads to trouble. But the 4 of coins being inverted means that you found some success in trying to carve out a universe of your own, which I applaud you. That's good fucking work, man. Like, not a lot of people can get their own space, or can get their own identity, or can lead their own life. So it's kind of cool that you seem to be able to find that own little corner of the world that you can call your own. Maybe not totally, because it's still, you know, it's depicted by a tent out in the middle of the snow for a reason. There is still some journeying left to do, and you may potentially be a nomad at this point in your life, but you're building a stable foundation by saying, no, I will be who I am. And people seem to respect that. People seem to have respected that so far. So, you know, hopefully that continues on into the future through whatever changes you might encounter. How do you feel about that? Was that, did that feel good? Did that feel particularly relevant? Connection to others. Wow. You're even building relationships by not being the, you know, the average person. Like, it's allowing you to actually be flexible and grow, which is, again, that's not an opportunity that a lot of people get. So I hope that you feel good about that. I hope that you feel like, you know, like it's accurate and like it has something to do with who you are and how you're building yourself. She is gonna go straight through that window sometime. What? I can't play with you right now. I'm streaming. I'm sorry. You cannot draw a line in the sand with me. Absolutely, absolutely. The cards don't lie. Now, the outcome. That's the most important part here. How are you going to utilize this new information to reach the outcome? Which, wow, is the King of Coins. Okay. I see some success in your future. It's the last card of the deck, which could mean it's the most important. It could mean it's the least important. Well, it's not the last. I think it's the ace. No, it is the last. All right. Yep, absolutely. Boy, you are stubborn. You are a stubborn person. You do not like to be told who you are or what to do or, you know, why. Like, you don't like to be assigned an identity. You like to claim your identity. And this is actually, I think the spirits are telling me that this might be a generational thing. You might have been, taught by a family friend or a family member who had that fiery spark, who didn't want to just go with the flow, who wanted to make their own flow. And it seems like not necessarily that you're following in their footsteps, but you're taking a cue. You're taking a little bit of their example, and you let it inform you on how to be a strong, stubborn person. And I think, judging from the heart of the cards, this is gonna work out for you. You know, you're gonna be able to maintain yourself, and you're gonna be able to maintain spiritually and mentally. You're gonna be able to maintain yourself because you've been so rigid with your own beliefs and how you establish your identity. So congratulations to you. I think it doesn't say anything about prosperity, but people who tend to be better at self-analysis and self-assurance and who tend to be more confident tend to be more successful. So if you are stubborn enough to not let anyone tell you who you are, and you're able to stick with that, and you're able to make it work for you, then you will reach the summit. You will be the king of coins. You will find that prosperity and success that you seek. And really, all you got to do is continue to fight against the tide, to continue to be the salmon swimming upstream. Just try not to get caught by a bear. Try not to get caught by a bear. Bam! Boom shakalaka! How'd I do? How'd I do? Did I get you? Did I get you? Did I read like a bad Sunday horoscope, or did I read like a good Sunday horoscope? That's the question. The real question. Oh, you didn't know I knew you so well, did ya? You didn't know I was that good of a judge of character. It's like I've been analyzing you this whole time. Crazy. Now, the second part of this tarot stuff is for me now to explain what's going on. So, tarot, and a lot of the reason why I'm reading to you people, Condensed Chaos, is because tarot is both real and fake. It is both a thing and not a thing. It is both magical and miraculous and not any of those things at the same time. Psychology is real. Psychology is a science, and it is, oh my gosh, I keep, you know, how you have that burp sometimes where it just won't, like, the burp won't happen, but your chest is still like, you need to burp, you need to make a burp, but your esophagus is like, no thank you. But so the idea behind tarot is, I mean, it started as a scam, which is sad and a crappy history and a crappy origin. But I think what we can do is we as a society can change our perception of things like this, esoteric things that are like pagan and ritualistic and stuff. We can start kind of incorporating elements of these things like pattern recognition, statistical analysis, self-analysis, and self-awareness. We can use elements of this to inform those things. And what I think is so cool about things like tarot and other like symbolism and even magic, even this kind of shit, you know, what I think is so cool about it is that it gives you a direct avenue towards self-awareness. It's not about trying to change anything about yourself. It's about realizing that you can change anything you want, and you inform what is real, and you inform, you know, all that stuff. And that's what's cool about tarot and about magic and all this stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. I enjoyed giving it to you. And dude, also, like, if you think it was cool and you want to see it done more, then try to like find people to bring in here. I'll do a reading for anyone. Get your fucking get your GF, you know, channel her spirit, and I'll pull some cards for her. She doesn't even need to be on here. You can just say like, you know, all right, go ahead and do a reading for my GF. I'll do it. I'll freaking do it. And I'll be able to figure her out without her even knowing her, without even like ever having seen her username, without anything. Although it does help to know people's age. I'll just assume that she's in the same age group as you. Just for ease of privacy and safety and all that. Trying to make this as painless as possible for people. But I do like, you know, I like doing this kind of stuff, and I would love to have like days where I just do only tarot readings. I tried to do it yesterday, but nobody called, you know, so Helmet was here on YouTube, but it's hard. Jesus. I wonder if you can hear her like slapping the ground as she's like running. Yeah, this is I don't think it was hand drawn. Maybe I'll take pictures or something and I'll put it in my Discord. But she's like, or she, sorry, my dog is crazy. But these are all like really up my alley. Like it's like lasers and lithographic stuff, and Julie Andrews for some reason, and like the Lovers looks awesome. I may just like leave these a mystery until I've pulled them for people. But these cards are all, they were originally hand drawn, but then, you know, mass produced and sold on Amazon. But this is by far the coolest looking deck. The Devil, look at the fucking Devil card. I want the, I can't get it adjusted. Holy shit, dude. I want that tattooed on me. Look at that. That's so fucking cool. This is better resolution. That's why I use my my phone for the cards, because everything else of mine sucks. Isn't that fucking cool? Ah! So yeah, they're all like, ugh. And it was I think $40 for, and like they're all, it's like silver leafing or silver gilding or whatever the fudge you call that. But it makes them really hard to draw and shuffle. I think I'd have to wear them down more, but I really don't want to do that. I want to keep them kind of nice looking. I don't know. I'll mess with the book. The book's, you know. This is the book I was reading to get the, it gives you like the meaning to things. So it gives you like direct like meanings of like all the things, and it's really just showmanship, you know. It's showmanship and psychology. That's all it is. I can take, it's actually, it's more sort of conceptual mathematics than anything. It's like knowing demographics and knowing statistics and knowing you know, just things in general. All right, okay. I've accepted her acceptance, and I've tapped into the spirits of the spirit realm. Okay, I am now like, I'm vibrating with spiritual energy. All right, your girlfriend's her aura and her spirit are flowing into the cards, and we will just, you know, we'll see what's up. We'll see what the spirits say. We'll see what the cards say. Oh, it's real bad. Unless you know who Miss Cleo is, it's just sounding like I'm doing some weird shit right now. Oh, I gotta laugh to myself, because, you know, if you don't laugh, you cry. All right, here we go. So, just confirm for me real quick that she is in fact in your same age group, just so that I know, sort of. You never know. You may have gotten like cradle robbed or something. You know, I don't know that. You know, she could be 80. That's okay. That's alright. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Cougars. What do they call the really old ones? Pumas, I think. All right, so younger. So we are tapped in to the spirit world. Oh my God, can't speak. We are tapped into the spirit realm, is the word I meant to say originally. We're tapped in. We are like dialed in. We're so in touch with the spirits right now. I am full of spiritual ectoplasm. It's getting slightly sexual, and I'm going to try and steer us away from that. Let's continue, shall we? Oh, one of my favorite bands. One of my favorite bands. The Chariot. If you were present the day that I showed that music video from the movie The Last Dictator with Charlie Chaplin, or The Great Dictator, or something, I forget the movie, I always get the name confused, but that is the band The Chariot. It's pretty badass. It's pretty badass, let me tell you. Alright, so. Okay, I'm trying real hard to zero in on your girlfriend's energy. Oh, it's difficult. But we can get there. I have faith. Get it? Faith? Because, you know, faith is in stuff that you can't prove, right? All right. Oh, I see why you're dating this person. Street Trip, you're a precious individual, and gosh darn it, your GF probably is too. You know, 15th century. Sorry, Helmet's talking to me on YouTube right now. Yes, it came out around the same time as poker. Like like the early incarnations of poker. It was originally like a scam, like a 3-card Monty, or like a gambling. Yeah. But as I explained earlier, you weren't here. But as I explained earlier. I want to be able to take elements of this esoteric stuff, which is all based on just analysis, self-awareness, self-analysis, statistical, just statistical awareness, and just general knowledge, and psychology. And so, like, I think we can totally take some elements of this and incorporate those into modern treatment methods, or at least dispelling misinformation and other like pseudosciences. This can be a tool both for self-discovery and for helping others find enlightenment and maintenance and stuff like that. So Street Trip, something tells me that your girlfriend, the spirits, it's not something tells me, it's the spirits, the ghosts floating around in the room. They're telling me that your GF has a pretty good head on her shoulders too. And I think that's probably why you got with this particular person. It's not necessarily the same personality type as you, but this is an interlocking. This is your puzzle piece. You found the person that kind of fits into your weird grooves. Did you ever see that commercial where there's like, it's a comic, I think, and it's a bunch of like people that are like squiggly lines, and other people, like these other people try to fit into them and they don't fit, and so then they like go their separate ways, and then they try and fit with someone else and it doesn't fit, and then all these people are walking around, they finally found their puzzle piece and they're like walking around, and then this really squiggly one is alone for a really, really long time because it's very, very difficult. It's all like jagged and stuff, you know, someone who's stubborn and who doesn't like to necessarily follow the status quo. And he eventually finds his person, but it takes a while. So something tells me that this was a hard fought relationship, and I don't think you settled. I don't think that you were like, or either of you, I don't think either of you settled. I don't think either of you were in a place where you were like, you know, I don't think I'm ever gonna find anyone, and so like, okay, this is my last chance. I think this might have like really cooked for you guys, like from sort of the get-go. Something, you might have even been friends and knew each other before this relationship, or at least part of the same social group. Because this person, if you listen to the meaning of the cards here, it says triumph over obstacles, steady resolve, renewed motivation, harmony, the inner search for truth, the struggle to untangle disturbance, a voyage or journey. This is exactly what I think of when I think of someone who complements your personality extremely well. So the question is, you know, who is this person? Because I don't know, and the spirits are trying to connect your GF to me, so I'm really just kind of figuring out like what's going on here with this person. And I think that they're either complacent, not complacency, what would you call it, nonplusness, or just like, hey, you want a tarot reading? I guess, you know, whatever, sure, okay, that might be interesting, let's see what happens. this is sort of that reflected in how the spirits are telling me to get to know this person. And it's pretty clear from the jump that this person compliments you very well. And you know, a lot of that is in being willing to talk to you about stuff, not like clamming up and just kind of trying to move on and move past things. But it's actually someone who seems to have, again, a good head on their shoulders. Inner search for truth, you know, struggle to untangle disturbance. I think she's not necessarily confrontational, but I think she's open with the thoughts that she tries to share with you. And that's a good quality. I assume that you're probably of the same mind as well. So it's cool that you guys have found each other. I found mine, so I'm not like jealous, but you know, I'm sure that others out there probably have not found theirs yet. So let's all send good vibes their way. So the intent. What's your GF all about, man? 3 of coins. I think that's going to be a pretty relatable thing for you. So this person is, you might have met them while you were engaging with your community, and they kind of do this sort of the same thing. More in depth though. Coming together to create something. So you guys might have worked on something together. Can you just answer that real quick for me? Have you guys collaborated on something? Because this may be something that I need to interpret, or it may just be a plain you guys have worked on something together before. Yep. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of collaboration in the 3 of coins. So what you're looking at here is you're looking at someone who compliments you entirely, who talks to you about things, but who also is on the surface, like on the work level, attuned to you as well. I don't know if you work, because if this was inverted, it would mean that there's disharmony when you guys work together, but I think you guys might mesh really well together when you're working on a project. It may not be empty of disagreements, or there may not be zero conflict, but it's a collaborative effort. And I think even if you guys do, pardon me, there's that burp I finally needed to get out. Even if there is conflict, it's in a constructive manner. You guys are like, you know, I don't think it should be like this. I think it should be like this. And your partner's like, oh, well, I think it should be like this. And you're like, well, no, I think it, but you guys actually take the time to explain this stuff to each other and come to a conclusion as a team, as opposed to separately, which is what, that's the 3 of cups, or 3 of coins right there. That's it, right there in a nutshell. Super easy. I mean, you guys are basically, so, and I will never try to get you to confirm any uncomfortable details about anything, okay? Just understand that from the get-go. Don't say yes or no to anything that I'm about to say. Just if it's accurate at the end, then just let me know overall how accurate I am. But I feel like perhaps maybe you guys are a little isolated. Like the reason you guys got drawn together is because you want to engage with your community, and when you guys were able to meet and be joint parts of your community, it was because you may have felt, and I don't know before this, because this only your reading only started at a certain point. I can't see like your childhood or anything like that. The spirits can, but I can't. But something tells me from just seeing your girlfriend's cards and your cards together that you guys might have encountered some external difficulty in coming together. There might have been some conflict that you guys had to encounter, some hardship that you had to overcome, or even a shunning from your previous community that may have driven you together. And these 2 cards immediately spell out an unbreakable bond. Even if you guys don't last forever, and that's always a chance, even if you guys don't last forever, you're always going to be friends. And these cards, the cards don't lie. All right, so how is all this gonna shake out? How are you and your significant other gonna shake out? I can't tell you if you're gonna stay together or not. That's not in the cards. What's in the cards is just an overall vibe. So you know, I can't give you any specific, you're going to break up on December 14th, 2032. I can't give you anything like that. What I can give you is perhaps an insight into potential difficulties in the future or potential successes, just depending on what the card is. Let us find out together. Finally, oh damn, bitch! Just like your fucking third card. You son of a bitch. You guys are gonna be, I'm gonna be jealous of you guys at some point. Are you working on something right now, Street Trip? Is there a project that you're working on? This tells me that you might have a project. I gotta pull up the page real quick. The page and the page. Oh man, you got a life's work, don't you? Or she has a life's work. Sorry, this is her reading. She has a life's work. She has something that she's been working on for an extended period of time. Perhaps this is the thing that you guys have been collabing on, but there's something that she has had precious to her for a very long time that is insanely important to her identity. So the name of this card is the Waking Self. So either if there's not an epiphany that has happened yet, consider this the epiphany. All right, this is the opportunity, the call of action, or the call to action for you to go and do the thing that you've always wanted to do, GF. Okay, I don't know your name, but GF is fine for now. The page is nascent ambition. The page is something bubbling beneath the surface that has maybe always been there, but it is screaming to get out. All right, and you're gonna let it out at some point, and it's going to fucking glow. You know, you're gonna see, it's gonna be like the face of frickin' God on mushrooms. All right, you're gonna be very good at it. If it was inverted, I would be saying something entirely different, and then I would have to apologize. So you have a sense of awe and curiosity over this thing that you've been mulling over, and maybe you haven't committed it to paper or to thought, or it doesn't say that there's application of what you've been working on, but it's in there, it's in your mind, and you are working on it. It's something. Wait, are you guys married, or are you considering getting married, or starting a family? Are you at that stage right now? This is very specific. Sorry, I know it's very, and do not share if you don't feel safe doing so. But the spirits have told me something. Okay, then it is just a change. Because it says something like, the spirits are telling me, sorry, the spirits are not my cheat sheet, the spirits are telling me something like, there is a change coming. There's a change a-coming. There's a change in the wind. And I don't think that it's going to be something as drastic as a pregnancy or birth, because you guys, you're young. You don't seem to be at that phase in your life. But think of a pregnancy or a birth as a metamorphosis, a change, a phase of life, but a positive change, or like a change that really changes things. And again, like I said earlier, it is more, this could actually be perhaps her own sort of rebirth, you know, like when she starts working on this thing, or when she starts really developing this thing that she's been working on, this project, or this artwork, or this concept for a story or something. For me, it's about 15 unwritten or half-written books. But for her, whatever it is she's working on, when she starts in earnest, or when she really gets into the nitty-gritty, or when she sees herself in the work, it's going to be like a rebirth. It's going to be like a rebirthing experience, or like a total change in everything that she's ever known. So yeah, get out there, go do the thing. And I have a feeling that it's going to work out pretty well. And you seem to be supportive. From your reading, I can gather that you are every step of the way with her. Like, you're her ride or die, you know, at this point. And that may change. I don't know. The cards don't lie, but I can't see the future myself. Call me now for your free reading. Bomb the club, you. That's more UK slang than Jamaican or Caribbean. So how accurate was I? Did I get her somewhat in a box? En un caja. En un caja. Por dentro tu caja. Tienes un caja por mi tu pan. That was not Spanish. It was totally different. Entirely. Oh, good. I mean, yeah, they're not always going to be 100% accurate, and they're not going to be like, you know, I won't be able to guess very specific details, but I can take what I know about late 20-year-olds and younger, and I can apply that to any of these cards. And again, you know, the cards are not what's exciting and what's cool and what's wondrous and miraculous. It's what you get from the information that I'm giving you from the cards. And it could be it could be I could be telling you to subscribe to my fucking newsletter, $15 an issue for the next 90 days, and then you'll always have good luck. Or, you know, I could say anything, you know, like it's really just me kind of saying what I know about the people who tend to be the things that the card is describing. I know that's hard. It's reverse engineering in real time, I guess. I don't know how else to describe that. Oh yeah, hell yeah, Street Trip. That's why we're doing this, you know. I want to open up the platform for, you know, people who can't necessarily share their passion or have, you know, any of that stuff. And so I'm just trying to create an atmosphere where that's welcome. And I might as well, if I'm gonna open up the opportunity for people to come on and share their talent, I might as well be vulnerable and show mine, right? So it's only fair. I gotta set the standard, you know. And I love, I don't. So one of the things that kind of makes me think that I might be on the spectrum a little bit is because one of my favorite activities when I was younger was just going to the mall. Like from the time I was 8 to 19, pretty much, 18 in my hometown. I grew up in Sacramento, by the way. I don't know if anyone else is from California, but Sacramento 916 Pride, yay! I'm not really proud of it. But so I used to go to the mall, and I used to just sit in the rotunda, which is, if you're not sure what a rotunda is, it's just the sort of round part in the middle of, like, if you get to a big round part where there's, like, you know, art installations, there's usually kids play area, and then there's a bunch of shops surrounding. That's a rotunda. The mall that I used to go to was there pretty much from when I was 8, and it closed down after I left Sacramento. But it was an outdoor mall, kind of like an outdoor mall. It was an outdoor-indoor mall. It was very hard to describe. It was one of the kind. It was really cool, and a lot of people used to go there. It was a downtown area, and so people had to walk through it just to get to their offices. So I used to sit there for, I shit you not, 8 hours at a time. And a cool detail is, if you've ever heard the song by the Safaris, Wipeout, where it starts out like, aha, Wipeout, it's like, you know, surf rock. So the guy that did that laugh in that song, that very classic song, was a guy named Dale, and he was the manager of the Safaris at the time, and they wanted to imitate what someone does when a surfer wipes out on the beach, and the only one who could do a good call, a wipeout call, was Dale. And so they recorded that, and he'd been getting royalties ever since. He was getting like $700 a week in royalties, and all he ever did was go to the downtown Plaza Rotunda, downtown Sacramento, California, and chain smoke Chesterfields until he felt tired and wanted to move on. Then he would go and get his 2-egg breakfast for dinner at the local diner, and he would go home to his penthouse apartment and drink whiskey and smoke cigars until about 3 a.m. and he would do the same thing the next day. He told me his entire routine countless times. He would, me and him would spend like 6 hours at a time. Like I'd spend the first 3 hours I was there just writing down, and I would write stories about people. Like I would imagine, you know, what people were doing, you know, what they had in their bags, where they were going, what their circumstances were. I would write all that stuff down as stories. I would say like, Jane goes to the Lucky's store and buys a pair of jeans. And then I would think of just scenarios that would happen after that. And it would always be ridiculous, and it would always be usually comedy based. You know, typically off the wall. Like a hot dog flies into the I don't know. It's hard to come up with that stuff off the top of my head, but I used to spend hours just looking at people and imagining who they were. And eventually you start to recognize patterns, and you start to understand that people are pretty uniform in their markers that identify personality traits. So like, I mean, you can assume that a person who is you know, who identifies as a woman, who has like the hip sway that you would see in a character like Jessica Rabbit, or the buxom pinups of the 40s and 50s, you know, they may have the personality type where they're more confident, or where they have, you know, a bit more of a swagger to them. And then a person who identifies as a woman who is like a librarian, who wears glasses with a tattered ponytail, is probably going to be a little less on the confident side. You know what I mean? It's a fun way to like try and like be distinctive between social groups or something. But you see it. You notice your cliques in high school. You notice your, you know, just all the different ways that people tend to break each other up. Can I get another Discord invite? It should be at the top, I believe. It should be pinned. It might not be pinned. I had a wild nose hair that was about a half an inch long just now that I pulled out of my nose. I mean, yeah, love is great. I think tolerance and empathy are, I think, the two qualities that need to be pervasive for us to really move forward as a society. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I pinned it. I think it's pinned now. Should be. Let me refresh the page. It's pinned. Yes. And some artwork. It'll take you to the waiting room, but just go ahead and go into the proper. The shop is the main channel for the Discord. I guess I could also just put that in the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh gosh, yeah, that's a mouthful right there. But go ahead and click on that, and that'll bring you to like the main part of the Discord. Man, that means that my the links are broken too. I will do this again, and then let me go to call in. There we go. Hopefully that works. So if someone else test it, or unless if Street Trip has a moment, test it. But I it might work. It might not work. I don't know. I hope this one works. I do want people to call in. That would be cool. Especially since we've now had 3 successful people join the Monday and Tuesday thingamabobbers. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you for testing that. I appreciate it. And if you want to come up into the box, feel free to say so, and I'm down for that. We don't really have anything to talk about, but if you want to just share your shit, I'm down. You would have to feel comfortable talking on the stream. That's, you know, the only caveat to that. There we go. All right. Call-in link should be good now, I believe. So yeah, feel free to send me any of the artwork that you would like to. And if you're just joining the stream, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining. We're doing tarot cards. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. We're doing tarot readings, just because that's my talent. But today's all about talents, special skills. Oh, that's no problem, Ben, man. Like, I will never put any kind of pressure on anyone to do anything. Like, this whole thing is about empowering people, and you know, I really want people to feel comfortable sharing at their pace. So yeah, if whatever you want to do, if you want to come back some other time and actually like have a conversation, that's fine too. But if you still want to just come back and chat through the chat, that's cool too, man. You just want to lurk, that's cool too. I got a couple of those. It says 5 viewers right now, and I know only my chat bot is part of the audience pool, so there's some lurkers, I guess. Or bots or scammers or whatever. You never know. All right, if there are no other tarot requests, I'm going to continue reading from Condensed Chaos. If you've never read it, it is a magic guide. And I prefaced all of this with saying that don't accept any of this as real. Like, don't accept magic is real. We're gonna start with the chapter is chaos magic, but the spoiler alert to that is no, it is not. Oh, I got a tickle. Oh, I got a tickle in my throat. I gotta do the dad thing, you know, that one dad thing where you go like, you know, you gotta hack up a lung. That's an old man thing. So if you're a dude, it's gonna happen when you get older. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Except stop smoking. If you smoke cigarettes, stop smoking right now. That is the first and best thing that you can do in order to immediately improve your life expectancy is if you smoke, stop smoking. And I would say that I wouldn't necessarily agree that weed is a good alternative to smoking cigarettes, but if you have other therapeutic stressors that might benefit from the use of cannabis, then might as well use that as a substitute. Why the heck not? Of the 2 viewers on YouTube, if either of you want tarot readings, let me know. You don't necessarily have to join the Discord. You can just say something in chat. We just did 2 readings that I got okay accuracy on, and I think I can do a lot more. Unless you have a talent or a story or a job that you like or a hobby that you're really passionate about that you want to share, feel free to call in, and you can be the guest on a podcast where anyone can be the guest. It's the world's first wholesome podcast. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be wholesome. I don't know that anyone's going to come into the channel and be like, here's my traumatic story, but you never know. And poems and stories, short stories, are not always happy and upbeat. They are sometimes depressing and dramatic. So that's the only reason why I feel like I have to add that caveat. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to dip out of view of the camera for a moment. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to do that, but now I'm not. All right, so we are going back to Condensed Chaos. So I read the foreword. That was from Peter Carroll. If you'd like to hear that, then please feel free to watch the VOD. We're going to continue on with Chapter 1, Is Chaos Magic? First, we got to understand what magic is in the first place, all right? The world is magical. We might get a sense of this after climbing a mountain and looking down upon the landscape below, or in the quiet satisfaction at the end of one of those days when everything has gone right for us. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Magic is a doorway through which we step into mystery, wildness, and imminence. We live in a world subject to extensive and seemingly all-embracing systems of social and personal control that continually feed us the lie that we are each alone, helpless, and powerless to effect change. Magic is about change. Changing your circumstances so that you strive to live according to a developing sense of personal responsibility, that you can effect change around you if you choose, and that we are not helpless cogs in some clockwork universe. All acts of personal and collective liberation are magical acts. Magic leads us into exhilaration and ecstasy, into insight and understanding, into changing ourselves and the world in which we participate. Through magic, we may come to explore the possibilities of freedom. Surely this is simple enough. But no, magic has become obfuscated under the weight of words, a welter of technical terms which exclude the uninitiated and serve those who are eager for a scientific jargon with which to legitimize their enterprise into something self-important and pompous. Abstract spiritual spaces have been created in the midst of which tower the Babel-like Lego constructors of inner planes, spiritual hierarchies, and occult truths which forget that the world around us is magical. It's a lot of word salad. I apologize. I am very much a believer that we can extrapolate some meaning from their constant use of multiple words that don't make sense or are just thesaurus entries. All right. What did I just do? I hit the space bar. I hope I didn't mess anything up. It doesn't appear that I did anything. We're still streaming everywhere, right? I hope so. So for the moment, forget what you've read about spiritual enlightenment, becoming a 99th level magus and impressing your friends with high-flown gobbledygook. Magic is surprisingly simple. What can it offer? 1. A means to disentangle yourself from attitudes and restrictions you were brought up with and which define the limits of what you may become. 2. Ways to examine your life to look for, understand, and modify behavior, emotional, and thought patterns which hinder learning and growth. 3. Increase of confidence and personal charisma, or Riz, as the kids call it these days. Why does the music keep pausing? 4. A widening of your perception of just what is possible once you set heart and mind on it. 5. To develop personal abilities, skills, and perceptions. The more we see the world, the more we appreciate that it is alive. 6. To have fun. Magic should be enjoyed. 7. To bring about change in accordance with will. That's it in a nutshell. If you ever wonder what modern magic is supposed to be, that's pretty much it. Magic can do all this and more. It is an approach to life which begins at the most basic premise. What do I need to survive? How do I want to live? And who do I want to be? And then gives a set of conceptual weapons and techniques for achieving those aims, much like tarot decks. See why we started with the tarot. It's all connected. What is chaos magic? So this is a bit of a, it's not complicated, but it's a bit of a complicated one. My nose. There we go. That's the wild nose hair that was tickling me. Old man nose hairs, you know? Yep, now, yeah. Yep. What do you think of when you hear the word chaos? A state of things in which change is supreme. An unorganized state of primordial matter before the creation. A confused state or mass. Chaos was the primal source, first of all. This isn't anarchy, this is chaos. In the beginning, there was only chaos. Agents of chaos cast burning glances at anything or anyone capable of bearing witness to their condition. One must have chaos in one to give birth to a dancing star. Matter is illusion. Solidity is an illusion. We are illusion. Only chaos is real. In the limitless heavens shines the countenance of chaos. It makes chaos sound pretty cool, but it's really just a thing, like it's a concept. So don't put weight to that. Just so you know. And hey, Street, if you guys liked the tarot reading, tell your GF to make an account on Twitch and like and subscribe. Goad her into it. Oh, sweet. Yeah. Hell yeah. Under memes and media. Are these like your works? Cause like, wow. Look at that. is that Sharpie on canvas, or is that paint on canvas? What is that? What type of medium? Oh yeah, I see. You're gonna end up doing like some big fucking mural, and you're gonna get super famous. And see, I'm pretty good at identifying some art stuff. Yeah, you did like the outline in one of those Blick Fatties, and then you colored it in because you like the texture, I'm guessing. Because it's cool. Like if you can get it all lined up, and you have the patience to actually do that. Like I can see places where you maybe like lost patience, and you're like, fuck this. At least that's what I would have been thinking at the time. No, it's really good. I love the shapes. I love how gangly it is, and I like how it looks like a logo of some sort. Like you could turn that into like, I don't know, that could be like somebody's contrived logo or whatever. But you see, like you're gonna end up doing some like big mural or somebody's like some rich person's house or something. I don't know. You're gonna end up doing something on something, and you're gonna get all like famous and shit. And then you know, you and your girlfriend are gonna like help each other get all rich and shit. Well, you know, I'm happy for you. All right. Chaos is all this and more. A term which means something different for everyone. None of us can ignore chaos. Over the last 20 years or so, chaos has become a buzzword of a revolution in thought and method, spawning a new form of science, new technologies, a whole new emerging worldview. While chaos theory has been generating debate within the scientific community, chaos magic has been creating controversy within occult circles. It has been labeled variously as English Thelma, the blackest form of dark power, and Githard magic. At the core of this revolution is the recognition that the scientific worldview, which has set the limitations of acknowledged human experience, is crumbling, and new visions and models are required, as are new ways of being, and more importantly, new ways of doing. Chaos magic is a new approach to doing magic. So it's not necessarily a thing that you are going to end up practicing religiously, or a thing that you are going to end up making a religion out of. It is not a thing that serves to create a religion. It is a thing that is a tool that is used to interpret signals that you accept into your brain, for the most part. Core principles of chaos magic. Now these set up the foundation. These are like your 10 commandments, essentially. Okay, if you're religious, 10 commandments. Best way to describe it. Real hard to like carts ever after this experience with them. I've had too many to get through. And whoever designed those things was a piece of shit. Because they never last the whole cart, and they never do what you want them to do. You cute, Poopy. We can't be loud. Don't be loud. Don't. You're gonna start to bark on me. Yeah. Hey, well, I just said hello. That's all. Hi. While magical systems usually base themselves around a model or map of the spiritual/physical universe, such as the Tree of Life, which can sometimes be described as a cosmic Filofax, chaos magic is based on a very few core principles which generally underlie its approach to magic. They are not universal axioms, however, so feel free to swap them around. The first thing about this is there is no truth, right? Everything is a lie. There is no truth. Everything is a lie. Do what thou wilt. Everything is allowed. Nothing is, or everything is permitted. Nothing is disallowed. It's like, yeah, it's important. Chaos magic. Oh yeah. 1. The avoidance of dogmatism. This is important to any of the faithful or religious that want to try and dive into their religion, or want to deconstruct or self-assess or anything like that. Self-analysis. The avoidance of dogmatism. Chaos magicians strive to avoid falling into dogmatism unless expressing dogmatism is part of the temporary belief system they have entered. A lot needs to be explained about that. Oh yeah, no problem, Street. Ben, enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, man, have a good one. Discordians use Catmus, such as us Discordians must stick apart. Thus, chaos magicians feel entitled to change their minds, contradict themselves, and come up with arguments that are alternatively plausible and implausible. It has been pointed out that we invest a lot of time and energy in being right. What's wrong with being wrong occasionally? Personal experience is paramount. In other words, don't take my word with such and such is the case. Don't take my word that such and such is the case. Check it out for yourself. Magic has suffered extensively from armchair theorists who have perpetuated myths and out-of-date information purely due to laziness and one kind or another, laziness of one kind or another. Sometimes it's interesting to ask awkward questions just to see what the self-appointed experts come out with. Some will emit a stream of verbal diarrhea rather than admit to not knowing the answer, whereas a true adept will probably say, I haven't a fucking clue. Quite early on, chaos magicians came to the startling discovery that once you strip away the layers of dogma, personal beliefs, attitudes, and anecdotes around any particular technique of practical magic, it can be quite simply described. 3. Technical excellence. One of the early misconceptions about chaos magic was that it gave practitioners carte blanche to do whatever they liked, or so become sloppy, or worse, soggy in their attitudes to self-assessment, analysis, etc. Not so. The Chaos approach has always advocated righteous self-assessment and analysis, emphasized practice at what techniques you're experimenting with until you get the results that you desire. Learning to do magic requires that you develop a set of skills and abilities, and if you're going to get involved in all this weird stuff, why not do it to the best of your ability? You know? It is the whole thing about knowing yourself. So, it's a good point. Deconditioning. The Chaos paradigm proposes that one of the primary tasks of an aspiring magician is to thoroughly decondition herself, and it's spelled Hirself as an inclusive term, which I thought was pretty cool. Herself. Where did I find that? From the mesh of beliefs, attitudes, and fictions about self, society, and the world. Our ego is a fiction of stable selfhood, which maintains itself by perpetuating the distinctions of what I am / what I am not, what I like / what I don't like, beliefs about one's politics, religion, gender preference, degree of free will, race, subculture, etc. All help maintain a stable sense of self, while the little ways in which we pull against this very stability allows us to feel as though we are unique individuals. Using deconditioning exercises, we can start to widen the cracks in our consensual reality, which hopefully enables us to become less attached to our beliefs and ego fictions, and thus able to discard or modify them when appropriate. So, I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of the concepts here are mostly just in order to allow you to understand who you are, just by asking the question, what do I know about myself? That's really, if you wanted to boil it down to a very simple message, that would be a good one. Number 5, diverse approaches. As mentioned earlier, traditional approaches to magic involve choosing one particular system and sticking to it. The Chaos perspective, if nothing else, encourages an eclectic approach to development, and Chaos magicians are free to choose from any available magical system. Themes from literature, television, religions, cults, parapsychology, etc. This approach means that if you approach 2 Chaos magicians and ask them what they're doing at any one moment, you're rarely likely to find much of a consensus of approach. This makes Chaos difficult to pin down as one thing or another, which again tends to worry those who need approaches to magic to be neatly labeled and clear. Number 6, and final. The final precept of Chaos. God, allergies make my nose feel like someone is tickling it with a feather at all times. It is crazy. Number 6, Gnosis. Gnosis. One of the keys to magical ability is the ability, don't know why you want it to be redundant there, to enter altered states of consciousness at will. We tend to draw a distinct line between ordinary consciousness and altered states, where in fact we move between different states of consciousness, such as daydreams, such as daydreams, autopilot, where we carry out actions without cognition, and varying degrees of attention all the time. However, as far as magic is concerned, the willed entry into intense altered states can be divided into two poles of psychological gnosis: inhibitory states and excitatory states. Another made-up word. Excitatory. No, it's excitatory. No, that's not made up. The former includes physically passive techniques such as meditation, yoga, scrying, contemplation, and sensory deprivation, while the latter includes chanting, drumming, dance, emotional, and sexual arousal. A brief history of chaos. This is where we kind of learn how the idea of chaos magic even kind of came about. The chaos magic movement had its first stirrings in the late 1970s in England. While the new phenomenon, punk rock, was grabbing the newspaper headlines and scientists across the world were beginning to delve into mysterious mathematical world of fractals and nonlinear dynamics, a new approach to magical practice was being synthesized in the wilds of West Yorkshire. At the time, English occultism was very much dominated by the three strands of popular witchcraft, Western Kabbalah, and Thelema. At least, there were enough people interested in these approaches to spawn supporting magazines. In one such magazine, The New Equinox, there appeared to be early writings of Peter J. Carroll, who is considered the foremost exponent on modern chaos magic. By 1978, there appeared the first advertisements for the Illuminates of Thanateros, an order whose practices were composed of a blend of shamanism, Taoism, Tantra, and Thelema. The announcement of this new order was shortly followed by the first edition of Peter Carroll's Liber Null, which is impossible to read. You can do it. I would not encourage it. But buy it and read it if you think that any of this is interesting, and you have like a lot of time to read and analyze, because it's dense. It's like a Bible. It's like a Bible. Which, while describing the basic philosophy and practical approaches, did not contain the term chaos magic. Liber Null was closely followed by the Book of Results, also very dense, by Ray Sherwin, which lucidly explained Austin Osman Spare's great magical innovation, sigil magic. Austin Osman Spare is considered by many to be the grandfather of chaos magic, an obscure figure brought to light by the work of Kenneth Grant. Spare was a superb magical artist, sorcerer, and spiritualist. At a time when many of his contemporaries sneered at table tapping and contacting spirit guides in favor of elaborate Rosicrucian ceremonies, Spare was painting the spirits he was in contact with and using his own system of sentient letters, sigils, to manifest his desires. Spare was not particularly enamored of the Golden Dawn style approach to magic and makes some very acrid comments on the subject in the Book of Pleasure, 1913. This goes back a long ways. This is Spare's words. Others praise ceremonial magic and are supposed to suffer much ecstasy. Our asylums are crowded, the stage is overrun. It is by symbolizing we become the symbolized? Or is it by symbolizing we become the symbolized? Were I to crown myself king, should I be king? Rather should I be the object of disgust or pity. These magicians whose insecurity or insincerity is their safety are but unemployed dandies of the brothels. Magic is but one's natural ability to attract without asking. Ceremony, what is unaffected. Its doctrine, the negation of theirs. I know them well in their creed of learning that teaches the fear of their own light. Their practices prove their incapacity. They have no magic to intensify the normal, the joy of a child or healthy person, none to evoke their pleasure or wisdom from themselves. Yeah, it's like old English type stuff there. The Book of Pleasure, subtitled The Psychology of Ecstasy, contains the essentials of Spare's magical philosophy and the key techniques with which he applied it. It is not an easy book to read. Imagine if he says that about this and hasn't said how hard Liber Null is to read. Holy crap. And Spare is often referred to as an incomprehensible mystic. His vocabulary is wide, his use of grammar is strange, and he uses many terms in ways that give them different meaning from their usual context. This is the pot calling the kettle black. Nor was he attempting to write in a textbook style that modern readers are used to, and the Book of Pleasure is very stylistically reminiscent of an old grimoire before it has been tidied up. Fortunately, the Book of Results gave a very clear exposition of sigil magic, and Liber Null also dealt with Spare's concept of the Alphabet of Desire. Another powerful influence of the development of chaos magic was the work of Aleister Crowley. Crowley synthesized a magical worldview, a psychocosm, out of his studies in magical and esoteric fields such as the Golden Dawn, yoga, alchemy, Kabbalah, and from his experience in other disciplines. Moreover, it is Crowley's life rather than his voluminous magical and mystical writings that is of interest. He was a pretty bad man, considered the most evil man in the world. Of course, this was before Hitler. Crowley took his personal experience, magical and otherwise, and created his own enclave. Beyond the boundaries of conventional morality, he deliberately sought extremes of experience, concealing and at the same time revealing himself through a series of colorful personalities. Part of Crowley's attraction for the modern magician is that he created something which has enduring power, a psychocosm which continues to be developed and twisted into different forms. Crowley did not so much follow a tradition, he embodied a dynamic process of reality engagement, creating his own path from whatever he happened to find in front of him. The left-hand path, if you will. The early growth of chaos magic was characterized by a loose network of informal groups who came together to experience the possibilities of a new current. With the demise of the new equinox, the Chaos Kids reported their results and heresies in the pages of the new British occult magazine, The Lamp of Thoth. The early Chaos books were joined by 2 tapes, The Chaos Concept, which discussed the basics of chaos magic, The Chaos Chamber, a science fiction pathworking which combined elements of Star Trek, Michael Moorcock, and H.G. Wells. The Sorcerer's Apprentice Press then re-released Liber Null and the Book of Results, as well as Pete Carroll's Psychonaut, which I would also recommend that you read, because that's really fucking cool book. These, together with articles from the growing chaos corpus in the Lamp of Thoth, drew more people into experimenting with the new approach. Thanks to the efforts of Ralph Tegtmeyer, the chaos approach was also receiving attention in continental Europe. The simple message of chaos magic is that what is fundamental to magic is the actual doing of it, that, like sex, no amount of theorizing and intellectualism can substitute for the actual experience. Carroll's Liber Null, therefore, presented the bare bones of the magical techniques which can be employed to bring about change in one's circumstances. Liber Null concentrated on techniques, saying that the actual methods of magic are basically shared by the different systems, despite the differing systems, beliefs, and dogmas. What symbol systems you wish to employ is a matter of choice, and that the webs of belief which surround them are a means to an end rather than the ends themselves. More on this later. An important influence on the development of chaos magic is the writing of Robert Anton Wilson and company, particularly the Discordian Society, who revered Eris, the Greek goddess of chaos. The Discordians pointed out that humor, clowning about, and general lightheartedness was conspicuously absent from magic, which had a tendency to become very serious and self-important. There was, and to a certain extent remains, a tendency for occultists to think of themselves as initiated elite compared to the rest of humanity. The Discordian Society is, in its own words, a tribe of philosophers, theologians, magicians, scientists, artists, clowns, and similar maniacs who are intrigued with Eris, goddess of confusion, and with her doings. The existence of the Discordian Society was first popularized in Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea's blockbusting Illuminatus trilogy, which you should also read, and also in Malaclips, the the Younger's book Principia Discordia, which sets out the basic principles of the Discordian religion, a religion based around the Greek goddess Eris. Traditionally, Eris was the daughter of Nox and the wife of Cronus. She begat a whole bunch of gods: sorrow, forgetfulness, hunger, disease, combat, murder, lies, nice kids. The ancient Greeks attributed any kind of upset or discord to her. With the fall of the ancient empires, Eris disappeared, though it is suspected that she had a hand in manifesting the first bureaucracies, triplicate forms, and insurance companies. Ha ha ha. She didn't put in a personal appearance again on spaceship Gaia until the late 1950s, when she appeared to 2 young Californians, who later became known as Omar Ravenhurst and Malaclips the Younger. Eris appointed them keepers of the sacred Chow and gave them the message to tell constricted mankind that there are no rules unless they choose to invent rules, after which Omar and Mal appointed each other high priest of his own madness and declared themselves each to be a society of Discordia, whatever that may be. So to sum this up, none of this makes any sense because they wanted to make sure that it didn't make any sense. They say there are 10 rules, but there are only 5. They say that there are, that they're both the Emperor, where neither of them can be, like, it's supposed to be contradiction for the sake of contradictions. Eris has since climbed her way from historical footnote to mythical megastar, and the Discordian movement, if such a thing can be said to exist, is growing on both sides of the Atlantic, helped by the Discordian tactic of declaring that everyone is a genuine pope. See what I mean? Like, all are powerful, therefore none are powerful, therefore all are powerful. More people are getting into the idea of a religion based on the celebration of confusion and madness. The central Greek myth that Eris figures prominently in is the ever-continuing soap opera of Mount Olympus, home of the gods, the episode which inadvertently brought about the Trojan War. It seems that Zeus was throwing a party and did not want to invite Eris because of her reputation as a troublemaker. Infuriated by the snub, Eris fashioned a golden apple inscribed with the word Kallisti to the prettiest one and tossed it into the hall where all the guests were. 3 of the invited guests, goddesses, Athena, that's how you pronounce her name, Athena, Hera, and Aphrodite, each claimed the apple for themselves and started fighting and throwing food around. To settle the dispute, Zeus ordered all 3 to submit to the judgment of a mortal over who was the prettiest one, and said mortal was Paris, son of the king of Troy. Zeus sent all 3 to Paris via Hermes, but each goddess tried to outwit the others by sneaking out early and offering a bribe to Paris. One can only imagine how. Yep. Yeah, I guess it says that way. So Aphrodite got the apple, and Paris got off with Helen, oh god, who unfortunately happened to be married to Menelaus, king of Sparta. Thanks to the meddling of Athena and Hera, the Trojan War followed. The rest, as they say, is history. Nowadays, in our more chaos-positive age, Eris has mellowed somewhat, and modern Discordians associate her with all intrusions of weirdness in their lives, from synchronous to mischievous occurrences, creative flashes of inspiration, wild parties. She does get a little bitchy at times, but who doesn't? It was the Discordians that pointed out that amidst the long list of dualisms and occultists that were fond of using, the opposites of humor and seriousness had been left aside. Humor is important in magic. As a colleague of mine once said, let me regroup here. My mouth is so dry right now. It was the Discordians that pointed out that amidst the long list of dualisms that occultists were fond of using, the opposites of humor/seriousness had been left aside. Humor is important in magic. As a colleague of mine once said, we're too important to take ourselves seriously. Some members of the IoT Pact, for example, use laughter as a form of banishing. And of course there is nothing like laughter to deflate the pompous, self-important occult windbags that one runs into from time to time. Important. Rituals, when silly, can be no less effective than when you keep a straight face. Magic is fun, otherwise why do it? Unlike the variety of magical systems that are all based in some mythical or historically derived past, such as Atlantis, Lemuria, Albion, etc., chaos magic borrows freely from science fiction, quantum physics, and anything else that its practitioners choose to. Rather than trying to recover and maintain a tradition that links back to the past and former glories, chaos magic is an approach that enables the individual to use anything that they put a slash in between the S and the he, so it makes it more compact, thinks is suitable as a temporary belief or symbol system. What matters is the results you get, not the authenticity of the system used. So chaos magic, then, is not a system. It utilizes systems and encourages adherents to devise their own, giving magic a truly postmodernist flavor. Needless to say, chaos magic quickly began to acquire a sinister reputation. This was due to 3 factors. Firstly, that its pick-and-mix/DIY approach to magic was frowned upon by the traditionalist schools. Secondly, that many people associated chaos with anarchy and other negative associations, and thirdly, that some chaos publications were hyped as being blasphemous, sinister, and dangerous in a way that they were not, which proved all the same to be an attractive glamour for those who required such a boost to the ego. Although there were satanic orders around at the time of chaos magic's early promotion, they certainly did not promulgate themselves as visibly weird as other occult groups. Chaos magic was thus both attractive for those people looking for a dark glamour to become involved with, and equally those who needed a satanic opponent to bolster up their fantasies of being whiter than white. Interesting color terms there, but I agree. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go use the restroom, fill up my water, and then I will be right back. Please, if you are just joining, please stick around and let me tarot you. Let me tarot the shit out of you. Let me tarot the ever-living daylights out of that ass. All right? Stick around. Say yes if you want the tarot, because even if you're a lurker, like I don't know if somebody wants a tarot unless you say you want a tarot. Tell me you want a tarot. I'll be right back. I can, and I promise, I can guess some stuff about you and probably get it right. This is all about cold reading. It's all about tarot. It's all about, I guess, spiritualism. Street Trip seems to think that it was genuine spiritualism. I promise. I apologize. Post chat to Street Trip. I am not spiritual in any way. I'm gonna go do my stuff. Pee. Take a pee break. Grab some water. Be right back. Oh yeah. Got some delicious water, and I will be right back. Just gotta pee. Ooh, all right. We are back. Now, just remember, guys, this is not a specific tarot stream. If you want to share any kind of hobby or talent or story that you have, poem, song, anything, please feel free. That is what the goal, excuse me, of today's stream is, to highlight your talents, to highlight something that you've been working on, and to put you on a platform. So if you've got something that you want to share, feel free to use the call-in links in either of the chats, and I'll bring you into sorry, there we go. Okay, and then I'll bring you into the box and we can talk. Or if you just want a tarot reading, that's my talent. That's the thing that I'm sharing. I do tarot. I don't do it like as a profession or anything. I'm a hobbyist. I may not be good at guessing anything about you, but I might surprise you. So just let me know if you want a tarot, and I'll tear the O right out of you. Maybe not. So if we get to the end of chapter 1 of, again, we're reading Condensed Chaos by Phil Hine. If we get to the end of chapter 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more general reading to kind of blow y'all's minds just a little bit. And then we'll go into Battlefield. I might go a little later today than I normally do. Actually, no, I won't. I'll still go till 2. But we might switch to something else if I can't get people to call in or ask for tarot readings. Just because I don't want to just read from a book the whole stream. Like, that's That's a little tacky, if you ask me. That's more of a a short form video. Give the snippets, and then people will understand. And then it's like you post that as a video later on. But if you're here and you don't believe in tarot, even if you don't believe in tarot, I can change your mind. I can make you a believer. I hope that's not the case, because I hope people are too smart to get hoodwinked. But once I explain it to you, maybe you might want to give tarot a try. Never know. You never know. Maybe not. Maybe you won't. But maybe you will. Maybe you will. All right, let's continue here. Also, if again, this is all about you guys. So if you want to be on the live stream in the only podcast where you can be the guest and have me interview you like a podcast host, it might be a fun experience. You never know. Might want to give it a try. Use the links in both of the chats to call in. And without further ado, we will continue with this book. But we will switch gears once we get out of chapter 1. Oh my. Camera went crazy. Where are we? Chaos magic has a sinister relationship, or a sinister connotation. What is notable considering the growth of chaos magic is that from its beginnings it has been very much perceived as experimental magic. This means not only experimenting with magical techniques and practices, but also questioning and testing a great many of concepts which many people who become involved in the occult accept as implicitly true. The late 1980s gave rise to the second great surge of interest in chaos magic with the rise of specialist occult magazines such as Chaos International, in which practicing chaos magicians made their technical and philosophical findings known to their peers. This period was one of a great surge of interest in occultism, with the availability of affordable desktop publishing systems leading to a surge of self-publishing and special interest cult magazines becoming a contributing factor. The diversification of esoteric studies into separate and almost mutually exclusive fields continued, and the late 80s also gave rise to the mushrooming of interest in shamanism as one type or another. Shamanism of one type or another. An important but often overlooked element of growing occult movements is the availability of information in the public domain. If you go to any bookstore catering to occult interests, there is likely to be a wide range of titles catering to virtually any subject from astrology to Zen. Chaos magic has not, so far, reached such a high level of visibility. Instead, the ideas have spread by word of mouth, through the information highways of the internet and CompuServe, through limited edition books and specialist magazines in the subculture, in magazines. In a subculture where commercial trends tend to create an illusion of separate occult traditions and approaches, chaos magic texts represent the move towards diversity of approach and fluidity of movement between the color-coded zones of the occult belief market. The development of chaos science and chaos magic do go hand in hand, with uncanny or fortuitous synchronicities. For example, in 1987, the University of Leeds, England, hosted an exhibition of the scientific possibilities of chaos. Later that year, Leeds was the venue for the first ever Symposium of Chaos Magic, and around this period appeared to be the center of chaos magic activity, with groups such as the aforementioned IoT and the Circle of Chaos, and Leeds' Order of Neuromancers operating around the city. In a very magical way, chaos has become fashionable, the buzzword of the 90s. Fractal designs have crawled their way from computer screens onto t-shirts, rave posters, and postcards. The chaos science of nonlinear dynamics is now used in fields as diverse as economics to linguistics and has been widely popularized through the character of Ian Malcolm in Spielberg's Jurassic Park. It is somehow appropriate that, just as the rise of personal computers assisted the paradigm breakthroughs which allowed chaos science to emerge, so the practical application of chaos formula has led to improvements in computer development, from the use of fractals to model three-dimensional landscapes to fractal-based data compression formula. At a very basic level, chaos challenges the way in which we habitually experience the world. It's just kind of giving you it's giving you the entire thing in one here. You know, it's making it very easy to understand the reasoning behind why people even practice this stuff. So it's important to know that. You got to know what you hate, or not hate, but you got to know what you disbelieve. I guess you don't have to, but it kind of helps. If anything, the fractal has become both the main motif of the emerging sciences, both a demonstration of its principles and at the same time an image of popular culture. The staggering beauty and complexity of images, such as the Mandelbrot set, arises from the application of a simple rule, x plus x2 plus c. The term fractal means self-similar at any scale. When you look into the fractal form, you see variations on the overall shape of the set, no matter how much you increase the scale. It seems that the deeper into an image you go, the more there is to see. Everything is connected to everything else in the set. This similarity can also be seen in natural phenomena such as mountains, clouds, and coastlines. It can be seen to occur in the shape of molecules and galaxies. The fractal is fast becoming one of the most powerful metaphors for explaining and understanding the world. Consciousness can be modeled as having a fractal nature. What does that even mean in real terms? Nothing. A whole big old nothing. Consciousness can be modeled as having a fractal nature. Doesn't make sense. Certainly much of our learning arises in our minds in the same way that a fractal is modeled on a computer screen. The processes of creative thinking constitute one example. We have isolated ideas, and gradually the relationships between ideas and concepts grow until we suddenly perceive the shape of a new idea. The ways in which we look into something affects the possibilities of what we will find. If one's learning or attention is broad rather than narrowly focused and specialized, then we will see the similarity of ideas across different disciplines and specializations. Also, similar ideas crop up in different cultures at various points in histories. In some ways, the fractal is a 20th century icon of the idea that all things are, at some level, interconnected at any given moment. Chaos theory is itself a multidisciplinary theory. It is being applied in a wide diversity of fields, from the study of epilepsy to the fluctuation of stock market prices. In some ways, chaos theory's most striking implications concern our implicit experience of the world at a day-to-day level. We have come to accept as natural that events happen in a logical linear sequence, and that anything which happens outside of this sequence is somehow outside of the natural order of things. This linearity is portrayed in everything from mathematics to popular fiction, to the level where it is embedded in our consciousness and taken for granted. That's like reptile brain stuff, you know? It is the way that we tend to think about our experience of the world, but it is not necessarily how we really experience the world. Chaos theory, in a way, points out the obvious, that one event can change those that follow in a way that can have a tremendous impact upon us. This is very important. If you don't take anything away from magic, at least try to take this away. Look at how we model consciousness awareness. We talk about normal consciousness and that which is distinct from it as altered states of consciousness, yet we continually shift from one condition of awareness to another, moving in and out of being aware of what is going on around us. A flash of memory, a dash of fantasy, giving attention to a piece of inner dialogue, a loop of song fragment or advertising jingle, daydreaming, wondering about possible futures that we are moving into, and more. When you consider that at any given moment your consciousness can be engaged in many directions at once, the idea of normal consciousness that we talk about becomes something of a facade. Consciousness behaves in an analog, gradual fashion, not like something definite. The power of chaos theory as a model is that it can approximately model a wide variety of phenomena that previous theories could not. Pre-chaos science approached phenomena in terms of isolating one element of an event or situation and studying it. For example, the dominant approach to understanding our senses is to study each sense in isolation of the others. This can tell us a lot about each sense, but it is not an accurate way of describing how we experience our senses. It is a very common human tendency to confuse the map with the territory. That is, to act as though the models we use to interpret experience actually are the experience. One of the points that chaos theory makes is that no model can describe something utterly accurately. We can only make approximations. Much has been made of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which demonstrates this concept at a mathematical level. All of this, the mathematical stuff, I don't understand because I'm just not good at math. But that's part of why chaos magic is the way it is. It's part of why tarot is the way it is. If I can put something in a form that I can easily wrap my head around, it's going to be easier for me to understand. And I can then maybe translate it into a language for myself that may not have much to do with what the thing that I'm trying to learn, but it will in the end help me learn it. Like how people use acrostics for things, how people use mnemonic devices to learn things, games, things like that. It's important. A version of the uncertainty principle, which has become a watchword for chaos magicians, is that famous phrase attributed to Hassan-i-Sabah, that nothing is true, everything is permitted. Now the meaning is, if nothing is true, then questions of proof become irrelevant, and the responsibility, permission... Stop! Nope, no growling, nope, lost privileges. Nope. Growl, you lose. No, you can't do it. Lost privileges. Stop. Get down. Nope. Get down. Nope. You lost your privileges. You. Oh man, she is so much like a person. She's like a friggin' toddler. Ooh. Go on, you crazy. She's indignant. Indignant. Let me tell you. She's doing it. Yeah, she's gonna go back up there again. If nothing is true, then questions of proof become irrelevant, and the responsibility, permission for one's actions and beliefs is thrown back upon the individual. If nothing is true, then everything becomes art, play, or make-believe, so you can choose your beliefs and attitudes without feeling the necessity of validating them as truth or scientifically valid. Like, you could adopt precepts of Christianity within chaos magic if you want. Like, you can be a Christian chaos magician. And that's your temporary set of beliefs. Temporary can mean like 100 years if you wanted to. Again, this is a rather obvious statement, although it seems that we tend to agree to act as though the situation was otherwise. Single truths which have an essential character can only be maintained by rigorously ignoring anything which does not conform to a particular belief system. Thus, beliefs survive, even if there is a relative absence of evidence to support them. Chaos magic recognizes the power and malleability of belief and consequently uses belief as a tool for magical action. See? See? I can just read the book. I don't have to explain it. It does the explanation for me. Magical models. The way that magic is generally conceptualized changes as general paradigm shifts in thinking occur. Until fairly recently, in a broad historical sense, practitioners of magic subscribed to the spirit model of magic, which basically states that other worlds are real and are inhabited by various pantheons of discrete entities, elementals, demons, angels, goddesses, gods, etc. The task of the magician or shaman is to develop or inherit a route map of the other world, to know the shortcuts, and to make a few friends or contact relatives over there. Having done this, they can interact with these spirits in a given way, and to get them to execute your will. So clergymen pray, shamans stuff their sacred mushrooms into their orifices in order to meet their ancestors, while demonologists threaten entities into submission by thundering out bits of the Old Testament. By the 18th century, and the rise of science, the idea animal magnetism rose in the West, the first manifestation of the energy model of magic. This model places emphasis on the presence of subtle energies which can be manipulated via a number of techniques. Along came Bulwer Lytton and his idea of vril energy, Eliphas Levi and the astral light, mediums and ectoplasm, westernized popular accounts of prana, chakras, and kundalini, and eventually William Reich's orgone energy, which none of those have been substantiated in any way, shape, or form, so don't believe this is canon. Do not be dogmatic. Remember. No dogma. The next development came with the popularization of psychology, mainly due to the psychoanalytic fads of Freud, Jung, and company. Freud. I say that because of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, just in case you guys are wondering. During this phase, the other worlds became the inner worlds. Demons were rehoused into the unconscious mind, and hidden masters revealed as manifestations of the higher self. For some later exponents of this model, tarot cards were switched from being magical divinatory system to being tools for personal transformation. Yeah! just as the goddesses slash gods came to be seen as not real entities, but psychological symbols or archetypes. The current up-and-coming paradigm is the cybernetic model, as we swing to being an information-based culture. This model says that the universe, despite appearances, is stochastic in nature. Magic is a set of techniques for arousing a neurological storm in the brain, which brings about microscopic fluctuations in the universe. This is what I'm talking about with tarot. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Which lead eventually to macroscopic changes in accordance with the magician's intent. If you have the intent that you want to lose weight and you make a sigil, you pour energy into it, you do the rituals, all this kind of stuff, and instead of thinking about it the next day or instead of falling into your normal habits, your newfound lease on life is now encouraging you to take a jog. That's all chaos magic is. It's just putting your will into whatever it is that you're trying to focus on and using that to take the next step forward in reasoning or self-assessment or self-analysis. See chaos science, the butterfly effect, and all that. Another manifestation of the cybernetic model coming to the fore is the new age assertion that crystals work just like computer chips. There are signs that the cybernetic model dovetails back into the spirit model, and once you get past the mathematical proofs and weird jargon, the model does display a simple elegance. Each model has its own attractive glamour, with exponents or opponents on either side. Many occult textbooks contain elements of the spirit, energy, and psychological models quite happily. Should you ever find yourself in the position of having to explain all this weird stuff to a non-aficionado or skeptic, then the psychological model is probably your best bet. These days, people who ascribe to the spirit model, if they are not of pagan or occult persuasion themselves, tend to think that they have an extensive copyright over the use of spirits. If the person is a computer buff or fractal freak, spelled with a PH, then by all means go for the cyberpunk paradigm. Scientists only tend to accept something if the scientific rationale can be wheeled up. Acupuncture, for example, was until recently explained as using the energy model and poo-pooed by the scientific establishment until someone came up with endorphin stimulation. Now most hospital physiotherapy departments have a set of needles. While some magicians tend to stick to one favorite model, it is useful to shift among them as the situation befits. Some models have a stronger explaining of power and account for some aspects of magic better than others. The spirit model, by far, is the oldest, can account for just about any aspect of magic. The psychological model, while being useful for looking at magic as a process for personal development, has difficulty with situations such as tribal shamans cursing Westerners who A, don't believe in magic, B, didn't see the shaman squinting at them, and C, break out in hives anyway. If you use only one magical model, sooner or later the universe will present you with something that won't fit your parameters. When you are spending more time defending your models than modifying them, then you know it's time for another spot of deconditioning. Report to room 101. End of chapter 1. So they lay out the idea that magic is a many-faceted thing and can be interpreted and relied on for many different things. The least of all is for a word of guidance or an instruction on how to live your life. It actually is the opposite. It actually is about freeing oneself from literally those restrictions. So, I hope you enjoyed that bit of Condensed Chaos. We're going to do one final reading, and then we're going to sign off for the day. All right? This is a general reading for everyone out there, all you potential viewers. I dare you to tell me that this was inaccurate to you, okay? Bam! Like, man, could this have been any better of a card to have picked for this particular moment? I don't think so. The first card in the deck, the Magician. We just got done reading about how chaos magic can change the world around you, and how if you focus your will, you can get, it's not the first card, you can get to a place of understanding. Now, because whoever you are, you've been watching this stream and you've been listening to the words that I've been saying, and hopefully you've been learning something. But And this is even true, watch, I'll even say this is true for the people watching on the VOD. This is true for in the past. I can tell you in the future exactly what's going on. Watch this. All right, possibilities revealed. So, the meaning of the card, the Magician, I'll read the little blurb too, just because I like reading this little lore bit. Here's the lore bit. As the first guide on the journey to enlightenment, the Magician reveals the raw symbols of the suits, the tools from which anything can be created: wands, swords, cups, and coins. The Magician advises that all new creations, if they are to succeed, require more than just skill. They require faith in the unknowable, a magical energy. He urges you to speak aloud what it is that you want, to will it into existence, releasing it from the world of mere hopes and thoughts. The Magician assures that through discipline and surrender, you become the connection between the earthly and the divine. I mean, that's pretty thematic, don't you think? We just got done talking about how chaos magic is like a channeling of your will. It's like a manifestation of the thing that you want, and you're putting it in the forefront of your mind. If you were listening to that, this freaking applies. That's, you now have this sense of eagerness to learn, a promising new idea creation. Like, this may have inspired you. I hope that it does. So that is the question. The question is, are we inspired? What do we take away from these experiences? Whether we believe in these things or not, that's the question. It is a way to encourage ourselves to take a new opportunity and new avenue of understanding. And the Magician tells us that you know, the passion that we have for creation, for maintaining our own little spaces, is a altruistic and noble endeavor. And the Magician facilitates the understanding of these esoteric concepts. The next card, the intent. Holy shit, this could not have been more fucking accurate. So, in my idea about doing this, about sharing this talent with you guys, and maybe this reading has more to do with me. Maybe it's more personal. You know, I was the one who drew the cards, and I'm saying that it's a general reading, but maybe this actually has to do more with me. Justice is fair. Fairness. It should be. It's supposed to be. Justice is fairness. The idea of doing a tarot live stream and trying to backdoor in some complex concepts that maybe people don't have access to normally is trying to elicit a sense of justice from the universe for whatever trauma or bad experiences that we've had in the past. We thrive on the people who do us wrong being held accountable. It tells us that justice is fair. It tells us that we can get a fair shake. Fairness. The intent behind eliciting a self-analysis, the intent behind starting a self-analysis is to find the best path forward. And the Magician is the facilitator. So you're saying, how do I move forward? How do I find a way to become stable and to maintain that positioning and that heading on the next journey? Justice is the intent. You want the fairness. You want things to be fair. You want to seek out your own idea of what utopia might be. And I wish you luck on that journey, because that is a toughie. Let me tell you, what's going to be the outcome? And neither of these are inverted. So it means that there is hope that enlightenment might happen, but it won't be through one of my videos. It'll be through you know, whatever you've learned from this, but also a healthy dose of skepticism and self-analysis, and consume other resources too, you know, learn more about this stuff. If you fart again, I will plug up your butthole, I swear to God. All right, outcome. How does the future look for us? It looks like it's going to be some hard work. Which is fine. I am no stranger to hard work, but I'm more of a sniper than a sniper than a warlock. I am more of a sniper than a warrior. I'm more of a sniper than an engineer. Like I do the long distance, one shot, one kill, you know, try to get it all in one go, and that's not what the Ten of Wands represents, unfortunately. The Ten of Wands is it's about burden. It's about taking responsibility. And I think what I tend to do, and what I tend to do with these projects like the stream, the channel, all this kind of stuff, is I tend to try and achieve something that I think is worthy of other people consuming. And I guess for that reason, I hold myself to a much more rigid standard than I hold other people's content. And like, tell me how accurate this is. Watch. This is, success is wonderful, but if left unchecked, it can get away from you. In the Ten of Wands, a man balances responsibilities, promises, and tasks, all of which he knows intimately. For the moment, they are under his control, but holding them has become a burden. You are expending a great deal of energy right now, holding things together. What is the price? The optional, or the original spirit and creativity that shone so brightly in you is fading quick, swallowed by the tangle of obligations. It's time to use the lessons of these wands to fix the situation and restore balance. The meaning is running idle, a burden that has crept up slowly, a time to reconnect with passions and motivations, taking on too much, not saying no, a lack of balance, maintenance, and the expense of growth. It is very telling that on this journey, we will be saddled with the burden of iniquity, of invisibility, of you know, the thoughts of devaluation and demotivation, and they can weigh on you, they can creep up, and they can slow you down, and they can keep you from doing the things that you're meant to do. And that means more, I think, to me than, you know, than it does to probably other people, because I have been trying for so long to do something. And now the idea of success relative to whatever my personal interpretation of what success is, which is really just being happy and trying to share myself with as many people as possible. Not myself, like, not in that way. You get what I mean. Point being, it is a burden, and it is taxing, and if I allow myself to stop, then it will become crushing. And there you go. There it is. Tarot at its finest. If you've never tarotted, I would highly encourage it. Again, I am not psychic. Magic is not real. This is just pattern recognition, statistical analysis, being aware of different demographics and how different cultures operate, etc., etc. If you liked the deck, I'll put like a picture of the thing. You can take down the UPC and stuff. If you liked any of these gimmicks, please like and subscribe. My biggest challenge right now to being able to do this more or full time, ideally, is the engagement. And people, they come in and they talk, but they don't follow, and that's it hurts. It hits the channel every time somebody you know, has an engaging thing and then doesn't follow. And plus it's a little like a fuck you to me, you know, like, if you're gonna be present enough and engaging enough to have a good conversation with me, then just fucking join the community. At least go through the motions, at least hit subscribe, at least hit follow, all that kind of stuff. But that's just my own personal gripe with you know, these people who are disingenuous in the first place, which is why I don't want to do debates anymore. So it feels like people are just dishonest and they don't want to approach anything related to the truth. So, yeah. I had a lot of fun today, guys. This is actually probably one of the funnest streams that I've ever had because I got a chance to show you guys something about myself that you probably didn't know, that really nobody knows. So, there you go. If you wanted to get to know me as a person, simply consult the deck. Simply consult the deck. I'll let you decide what the Three of Swords means. In the meantime, tomorrow we're going to head back into Battlefield. We've taken our leave. We were on leave. We did our leave. And now we're heading back to the boat. Helicopter? Airplane? We're headed back to the something. Whatever it is, and we're gonna shoot some bad guys tomorrow. Okay, so it'll be fun, it'll be a thing, and then we'll have fun, and we'll have the thing on the thing, and thing and a thing and a thing, and yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I didn't record this stream, unfortunately, so I won't be able to cut this into smaller bits, but what I really want to do is cut the podcast into smaller bits. So like when I actually have people call in and stuff, then I'll cut that into smaller bits, and once I have like about an hour's worth of content, I'll edit it up and post it into the actual YouTube channel for traditional YouTube engagement. I'm yawning, oh me, oh my. Oh, and then I stretch my back. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta run to the store. I gotta go grab an avocado